Dan Rothenberg and Joe Klosik, two guys trying to figure it out. Not the right wing, not the brosphere. Left of center, with humor and empathy.
Hello,
everybody, and welcome
to the Splain.
Good to be here.
It's kind of our trademark is to not quite hit the mark.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what it's all about. So we have like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, like and subscribe and
what we're doing.
Yeah, please. This is sort of a milestone podcast today, Dan. I didn't really realize it until I checked. This podcast, which we will put up on Monday, May 18th, will be our 65th podcast, buddy. Wow. Our 65th podcast that we've been...
That's something to be proud of.
That's something to be proud of. And we've grown. For a while there, we seemed to be stuck at like 39 subscribers, and we were like, come on, 40. And we got 40, and then we seemed to be stuck at like 45 or something. Now, I hope you're sitting down. I'm glad you're sitting down.
Is it less than 45?
No, it's 54 now.
I'll take it.
54, yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I feel like I was talking to my friend Sam about this today, and this is where I want to begin today's podcast.
Okay.
It looks like our comedian might have flaked on us, which happens with comedians. But I feel like we're finding our space. We're getting to a place where we're going to hit on what makes this duo particularly interesting.
And that is?
Okay.
Let the secret out.
Okay, let the secret out. Okay, I'm 53. You're whatever you are.
57.
57. We both have had dreams, and we're both fulfilling them ish. And I think I think it's fascinating. I don't know how else to put this. I think it's fascinating that life can kind of get to a place where it can kind of fall off for a lot of people. And being in comedy, you can see kind of in real time people's lives go in kind of a tragic direction where there's something very sad and self-destructive can happen to people that once were very talented and had their whole life in front of them. And I'm interested in how that happens. And you and I have had to manage that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's probably, we're coming at it from the comics standpoint, but probably everybody has some degree of that, right? So. Where, you have an idea of what the world is going to be like when you get older. You have an idea of what you want your life to become, and then life's. Mm-hmm. Things happen. You make choices. Things are done that are out of your control, and you never quite hit that mark you thought you were gonna hit. And it's not sometimes about the bitterness or resentment of not getting that. It's also about, you learn other things and you get other goals, and maybe the dreams of youth that aren't fulfilled become the richness and the happiness of things that we didn't think we were going to have.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
To be poetic. Well, I'm purely thinking about my own circumstances. I'm 57 and I just got engaged. Mm-hmm. And, I thought the door had closed long ago on a real relationship with a true partner. Mm-hmm.
And why, just let our listeners know, why did you, because we got to get real without getting too disclosing too much. I realize you want to stay in the relationship you're in.
I would like to.
And this podcast is not worth blowing that up.
I think she's okay with me revealing things. I mean,
What's the short version of why did you close the door? What was going on with you?
Yeah, I mean, the short version.
Forget it. This is.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not going to date.
it's important to say that it was, was not a decision that was made lightly, and it wasn't really a decision that was made out of sadness. It was just when I got out of rehab, there's a whole backstory there. When I got out of rehab, I really sincerely did want to figure out, hey, what's going on inside me, and how can I not make the same mistakes in a relationship? And as that progressed, then COVID hit and nobody was going out, right? So that kind of bought me an extra 2 years of introspection and thinking. And when I came out of that,
just a shout out to those people that had a good readjustment during COVID. It can happen.
I mean, I felt like I was uniquely primed because I had just moved into what they call a sober living house, right? So I had some structure, but not enough to just feel like, oh man, I can't do anything. And that was coming out of a 1-year program. So I had freedom, but I also had responsibility. And I also had this awareness, like, I can't take this for granted. I need to do the work I should have done when I was younger on myself. And then the world shut down. It was like, all right, might as well take a deep dive into Ocean Joe, right? and
how did you do that? What did that look like, this deep dive?
Oh man,
meetings or going to therapy or what?
Yeah, a lot of it had to happen online. A lot of it was reading. A lot of it was like, here's the thing that I think most people will be surprised about stand-up comics. I don't think this is 100% true, but I think this is mostly true. I think a lot of comics are introverts. Or I'm sorry, introverts. Right? And while we're on stage, we can just blast out all of this stuff that we've been thinking about, and we come across as being extroverts. But for me, really, I'm like, look, I was okay with the shutdown because I was an introvert. So I could go for long walks. And I think more than anything, those long walks, sometimes I was listening to a podcast, sometimes I was listening to music, but it was a lot about like, okay, listen, you've made, what's happened. I'm not going to dwell on that, but going forward, let's not get involved with anybody. And this was supposed to be the short version, but what really ended up happening was I was okay being alone. Mm-hmm. I was not in any hurry, and nobody presented themselves that I was particularly interested in. There was no spark of attraction that was happening. And the longer I stayed alone, the more I was okay with it. And, at a certain point, it was like, okay, you know what? I think I'm just going to be single the rest of my life, and I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with it.
To add to that, would you say at that point you could look and say, relationships are throwing me off? If you were to, I guess you were dealing at that point with addiction and relapsing and all that. Was it, sometimes it's the relationships when you really look that is the catalyst for...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was always a huge thing for me. That was always a huge thing, right? Like I mean, that was my pattern. That was a very clear pattern. Like I would get involved and everything was great for a while, and I would put all my focus on the relationship, and then something would go wrong and I couldn't manage it. So then it was back to the drugs and the alcohol, and that pattern had repeated.
So the relationship was the higher power. The relationship.
Yeah, and that's not their fault. That's not, it has nothing to do with them, because I was the one that made the choice. I was the one, I wasn't a victim. I was a volunteer, as they say. I didn't trust my ability to pick a good partner. I didn't trust my ability, to like, okay, here are my rules. Here are my boundaries. Here are the if you don't meet this criteria, then I can't be with you. And the nice thing was at a certain point, like, you know what? I don't have to care about that anymore. So I was just doing comedy again, and I was working, and I was getting a lot of enjoyment out of my day job. I was getting a lot of, everything was okay. And then suddenly, I'm doing more things. I started teaching a comedy class, which was very fulfilling, and it allowed me to bring together like so many different things that I had learned in my life. Like I was using the emotional intelligence concepts that I was teaching on my day job to addicts in recovery to teach stand-up comedy without saying, hey, this is an emotional intelligence concept.
But sort of breaking down what's this bit about.
Yeah.
Tension.
Yeah, and getting people to like, look, you have a story and your uniqueness is your superpower on stage. Everyone's heard, hey, dating is weird. But what is your story about dating without saying dating is weird? And getting people to open up and getting people to trust my process or how I was explaining it. So I started teaching those classes, and woman takes the class.
Right. Okay. So you just sort of cleared the decks, and isn't that kind of how it works in life? You get rid of your expectations, and then there she is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess the short version is once you stop looking, the person shows up. But I didn't realize it was going to be like, 7 years. Before I was ever going to be involved with anyone again. And it was really scary. I mean, it was really, really, if she hadn't been the amazing person that she was and been patient and kind,
you might have a wedding with a Millennium Falcon cake.
Now, today we're going to go look at a bakery and get a Millennium Falcon wedding cake because she loves me.
By the way, shout out to my wife, Colleen, the cake she has made. My wife goes nuts.
Really? She's a baker enthusiast.
If she has the opportunity to prioritize that for 2 weeks straight.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'll show you some pictures. She made a Death Star. Incredible. I mean, the kind of thing.
Wow.
It's the kind of thing you'd see on TV. She made a Death Star. She made a script. She made Batman, Star Wars, everything. She gets that from her mom. It's really cool.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool shit. That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
You know what we do? Just something I do with my. This has nothing to do with anything. Something I am proud of.
Yeah.
As a parent, that my parents didn't really do this for me because they just didn't. But making kind of like your story about your parents driving you to
see The Empire Strikes Back opening day.
Like I try to do that every day for my kid. There's always something fun you can do.
Yeah.
So the other day I was watching The Irishman for the 50th time.
Oh my God.
Love that fucking movie. I just love it.
Do you? Really?
Love it. Yeah, have you seen it?
I tried.
Okay. Just like I tried to watch The Last Star Wars.
I know. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And it's from the Irishman takes place in Detroit. So I'm from the Detroit area. So there's, my uncle on my uncle once removed, rubbed shoulders with some of these guys. I knew some.
Oh.
Kind of cool. That was the Jimmy Hoffa, Tony Jack era of the Detroit Mafia. And so I'm just watching, and Robert De Niro goes and gets 2 hot dogs from Lum's, which was a place I remember. It was more of an East Coast burgers, hot dogs, and they kind of showed it. Scorsese gets very specific about details, which is kind of cool. So he's narrating, and he says, Lum's, their secret was they used to steam their dogs in beer. And it just looks really cool. So I went, got the hot dogs, got a can of beer, steamed them up, served them for my
Really?
kids. Yeah, that's fun.
Did you notice a difference in the taste?
Yeah, it was yummy.
Okay.
Yeah, it did. See, or maybe it was just maybe it was just my head. Your head tells you that.
Yeah, who knows? But that's a fun activity. Look,
yeah.
Dad, you're gonna watch your dad relapse because he watched a 5-hour movie about the mob.
Really worth it. I went on a total bender.
That's beautiful.
And
started with hot dogs.
Right now, it's fucking worth it though.
But to get to the point though, like, listen, that dream of being in a nurturing relationship, I had let go of, and I think I let go of it in a healthy way, and I wasn't resentful or regretful. Like, maybe wistful sometimes. I thought about previous relationships, and I'm like, man, I screwed that up. I wish that had gone different. But also, like, you know what? I had some experiences. Things didn't work out. I'm going to be okay being alone. And as a guy getting older, it's a little scary to contemplate what being alone is going to look like.
As you were, getting into your 50s alone, what were the tough parts of that? What were the tough parts? So it's hard to be single.
It is and it isn't. I mean,
you forget the tough parts.
I mean, there were times I felt alone, but I didn't feel lonely, if that makes sense. And I think some of that just came from I liked me, for like the first time in forever, maybe my entire life. I was like, I like me. I like hanging out with me. I like thinking the thoughts that I'm thinking. I like doing the things that I'm doing. I like being me. And it was difficult to be single, and I would see people who were partnered up or see things on TV, and I'm like, that looks nice, but again, it was like, okay, I tried. That's not that didn't happen for me.
Speaking of that, I'm binging The Worst Ex Ever on Netflix.
Oh my God, we started to watch that and had to shut it off.
So can I just based on that, can the two of us and all of our listeners, can we make a pact, okay? If you're dating someone new, and then something kind of weird happens, and then you go on the internet and you start to Google them, and you find out they have a different name, or they're on the run from the cops, or they're currently married, or all of the above, break up with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, do yourself a favor. Move on. Because
that's not a red flag. That is a nightmare you're now in.
Yeah.
That can't get better. It can't get better.
I think red flag gets overused. Red flag is like, you know what? He keeps the toilet seat up. Yeah. That's a red flag.
Maybe. Yeah, okay. I've gotten to know him. He kind of trauma dumps, gets a little moody, but I can see how was always kind of a part of him.
Yeah, so, that's a red flag.
So every person I've been watching has said, yeah, but I saw all these things, but I was in love with him. Would you fall the fuck out?
Yeah, but here's the thing, Dan. I appreciate what a lot of those people are saying because I've been involved with some bad partners. I was a bad partner too, to be perfectly honest. And I think I understand. But now, so Christine and I started watching one. We'd never watched it, right? And I don't know what season it was. I don't know what episode it was. I can't even tell you.
Was it the guy with the tattoos all over his face?
He didn't have tattoos so far, but I think he ends up with tattoos.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
That guy's...
He was dating the African American girl in Vegas.
I don't remember. Anyway,
so here's the thing: Christine is watching this, and we're listening to the girl's story, and it's like the third time she's been beat up by this guy.
And now we're not minimizing the abuse.
Not minimizing the abuse. But we're also like, oh my God. This girl is stupid. So we're not minimizing the abuse, but you're also like, how many times? She even says, like, the cop says to her, because one of these things happens on Christmas Day, and the cop is like, you can't see him anymore. If he would do this to you on Christmas, it's time to move on. Yeah. No, like, but no. And then there's another girlfriend who's like, he was really good to my dog. Bitch, put the dog down and move.
Yeah, yeah. To me, once all that abuse happens, I get it. I'm a therapist. I have compassion. I just always feel like at the point you do that first Google search, get the fuck out. Stop.
I mean, if anything comes back on a Google search that makes you go, this could be a show on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's time to get out.
Yes.
It's time to get out. Yeah.
Yes.
If
that's a really good standard.
If they have a totally separate name from the name they've given you, time to get out.
Right.
That's not a red flag. That is you.
It went wrong. It's not that it could go wrong.
You are now a co-star in a reality TV show. Yeah. Move on. Let him go.
Yes. And at least look at it for what it is. So let's say you Google your, we'll call it boyfriend, and you realize he has a different name. And instead of being a kindergarten teacher, let's say he runs guns for a Colombian cartel.
As one does.
Okay, right. Okay. So at that point,
that's terrible.
This is a choice point, as we say in acceptance commitment therapy.
Ooh, choice point. Yes.
Okay. So now, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you feel like, well, what's keeping you together is love, all you got to do is ask yourself, is what I just learned about this person making me more in love with him? If so, fucking dive in.
He's so dangerous. It's kind of sexy.
Whatever. Just look at it for what it is. But
who am I to judge a gun runner?
If you're thinking, well, it's going to change, or I can help him, I would caution.
Caution.
It just never works out because Netflix doesn't have any documentaries where that works out. Show me one, and
who would watch that? Who would watch that though? So it turned out he was a serial killer and he was eating children and burying bones, but it worked out.
Yeah. Is there ever it worked out? Documentary?
Dan, this could be our $1 million idea right here. Wow. That's the name right there. It worked out.
It worked out.
Documentaries about really screwed up relationships, but somehow they make it work.
Could an American audience embrace that?
It worked.
I don't know.
It worked out. We might have only one season, and
does that happen?
3 episodes.
Have you ever known it? Okay, so you know how you have friends, and they tell you about their fucked up partner, new person.
Oh yeah.
And in 5 minutes, you're like, yeah, it's a fucking disaster. End of story. Does it ever work out? Ever?
No.
Ever?
No. It never ever does. It never ever does. It never does. It never does. But listen, from again, my own experience, like I think I was operating from a place of scarcity, right? That idea of like, okay, but if I let this crazy person go who's stolen a check out of the back of my checkbook and now throwing my bank account into chaos, that's a real story, it happened once.
Stolen checks, that's another one.
Stolen checks, red flag, right? But I still thought, well, if I let her go, I'm never going to find anyone that good again. No. That is a sad. Yeah, she stole all the pots and pans from our kitchen. And my roommates were like, okay, why would she do that? How does that make sense?
Okay, I'm not going to ask you to reveal who this was now, but what roommates are we talking about? Just so I can...
Kamau was one of the... He was one of the roommates at the time. Kamau Bell.
Kamau Bell, who some of you have heard of.
We'll just leave it there. I mean, when we were
that apartment. Okay, we don't have to. Wow, you had a partner that stole all your shit.
She not all my shit. She just stole all the pots and pans for some weird reason. What are you going to get
from pots and pans from?
None of us cooked. It was just like we noticed like, hey, there's a lot of space in the kitchen. How did this happen?
Yeah. Yeah, nothing. I didn't run into anything.
I mean, nobody knew anything was gone for probably like 2 months, and then one day somebody was gonna. I think Nate, that was his name, our other roommate.
So
there were three of us.
He went to Goodwill with a bunch of shit.
I don't know what she did with it, but we only figured it out because Nate was like, I was going to use the pot to eat cereal out of, and it's gone. And then we open up the cabinet, we're like, oh my God, all the pots and pans are gone. And I think here's the most fucked up thing, right? I think when we all realized, because the three of us are standing in the kitchen, I think Kamal looked at me and just said like, Joe, this is your girlfriend.
And that's why Kamau is where he is. He could just point A to point B. Kamau,
man, if you want to talk about, so if we're talking about,
could just see the truth.
I mean, listen, okay, not to get too deep on this, but if we're talking about middle-aged men and having dreams and seeing you not reach those dreams, there's the other component of this, and I'm not making him a bad guy at all, because we both were friends with Kamau, and we both knew him well, and good for his success. And I have not spoken to him in more than 15 years, probably longer than that. But Kamau and I had a falling out, and one of the things that I remember that had nothing to do with him in particular was like I was on the road doing stand-up, and I was doing probably like my last big tour, and I was doing all of these one-nighters and B clubs in the Midwest, and I was just to bring it down a notch. When you hear tour, you're thinking of a picture. Oh yeah. That's what.
No, this is you showing up and interrupting people from playing foosball.
Partially. Sometimes my name would be on a sign, which nobody gave a shit about, because it would be like, hot wings, $5.99, comedian Joe Klosik, something like that. So, and then I would be in some shitty club that's clearly about to go out of business, and I'm the no-name headliner that's there, and they're like, hey, you have a bridal shower? Why not have 5 and all in one night? And like, oh my God. Anyway, so I'm on the road, and I'm staying at my sister Teresa's house in Illinois, and these gigs were awful. They just were. I mean, because it just you're encountering a mentality, and this isn't a knock on the Midwest or Illinois, but it's just like these one-nighter gigs where they want to drink and play foosball, and you're the asshole that is being contracted to stand up there for an hour and entertain them, and it's just like pulling teeth, and it was demoralizing. As an artist, you're like, I can't do anything creative or interesting or push the boundaries. It's like, so when you getting married? Like, I bet he's gay, just you're doing crowd control bullshit just to survive. And I would come back to my sister's house and I'd turn the TV on and I would see commercials for Kamau's show on FX, and it was just this.
Correct? Is that right?
I can't remember what it was called. That wasn't politically incorrect. Totally biased. That was it. And I would just have these moments of burning resentment and depression of like, fuck, we were roommates, we were friends, we were doing, and a lot of why we had a falling out, my part in that was like addiction, but it's hard to see people succeed. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to say that. It's hard to see people succeed. I want to believe that I'm a better person than that, but it's hard to see. And it's, people who are dicks that you don't know, okay, they succeeded. People who you used to be friends with, who succeed on a level where you're like, man, that was the career I thought I was going to have, that's a struggle. That is I'm just going to be honest about it. Yeah. That is a struggle.
That's what I'm talking about. When I talk about
okay.
That is what I'm talking about. It's hard, and finding two things can be true at once. Yes, we both have very full lives, and we're making money and we have relationships, and I have a kid and you're going to have a kid, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, but certain things hurt
Yeah. Yeah.
You just look back. It's hard to look back and go, I didn't handle that right, or I was just really, really desperate, or if I had just stuck with that, it was on its way. Maybe everybody's like that, but comedy is a high concentration of that when you're really going for a dream.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I had an interesting talk with one of our fans. We should get to the fan mail also.
Oh yeah, yeah. Tell me the interesting talk, and I'll tell you some of what we've been getting.
I run with this group of cool guys on Sundays. So my friend Sam says to me, "So I hear you're going to be officiating a wedding," and I'm like,
"Wow."
Yeah, I'm like, how did? And I was actually okay. This is how I need to adjust how I own displaying. I immediately felt like, you listened to that, and I felt like it was a violation of my privacy. So that's not just the wrong attitude. I'm like,
oh, buddy, you gotta, yeah,
stay out of my business. So that's wrong. I need to be happy again.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah. So I said, thanks for listening, and he has been listening, and so he's been enjoying it. And we
thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. And we were talking about the episode where we interviewed Christine.
Yeah.
And supporting each other's dream. And I was talking about how, yeah, it's when you're in comedy, you see people really, life doesn't work out, like big time. And I found that, so Sam says, yeah. And his example was Dane Cook. He said, Dane Cook, and he focused on the fact that I guess Dane Cook's brother stole his money, embezzled his money. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, Dane Cook was huge. And now, and I was like, it's funny that, so from my point of view, I was like, Dane Cook is fine. He's had the ups and downs of fame, and but he can go to the Improv and sell it out. You're making somewhat millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I'm talking about guys, I'm not going to name without, who were once, very well-respected comedians in the Bay Area or wherever, and you see something happen. First, you notice it in their act. Mm-hmm. There's the ability to stop connecting with crowds. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you can't muster up the old shit, but you don't know how to do new shit.
Yeah.
And they disappear and you don't see them, and you get to a point where your hope is that, I hope their parents left them the house. You know what I mean? That's plan B. That's the real plan B.
Yeah.
And
but a lot, I mean, it's interesting. So yes, I can appreciate the fact that someone who likes comedy and watches comedy is using Dane Cook as an example, but I think you and I are much more close to the guys who's like, look, no one's ever heard of these people. I mean, maybe we know them in the comedy community and they do a good job, but a lot of these people, myself included, we were big fish in a small pond. That pond has only gotten bigger and people don't even remember us anymore, but there's a whole bunch of people that had this dream of being household names as comedians, and they maybe achieved a couple of headlining nights at the Punchline and then just disappeared. And they disappeared because it wasn't just the dream they couldn't get a hold of. They couldn't get a hold of their vices. They couldn't get a hold of, why am I doing this? They couldn't, things don't always work out, and that is really tough to see. It's also tough to see when things really work out for people, and you're just like, fuck.
And something I've learned that we were naive to is, and I think this applies to all life, but you feel like the hardest thing is to be motivated and talented and not have opportunity. You want the opportunity. I want to go to Just for Laughs or whatever. What I think can be even harder is you get the opportunity, and then what? It doesn't necessarily go well.
Yeah. I
You know
mean,
what I mean?
yeah.
You get that little TV credit that you feel like is going to validate you internally, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't really change anything. And,
no.
And that show is eventually might as well be Evening at the Improv. And
well, I mean, yeah, everyone can stall out at various ladders on this way to whatever, fame, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I remember when we did Live at Gotham, a Comedy Central show, like actually, and I thought, man, this is going to change things.
Yeah, it just
I got a Comedy Central credit.
I'm on Comedy Central.
Comedy Central. That's going to open doors. Yeah. And it did almost nothing. It did almost nothing. And
it's not supposed to, really. It's really not. It doesn't. I think at the end of the day, it's just all about having self-worth that allows you to persevere through it all.
I was talking to a comedian last night. We were driving back from Manteca, and
there's want to know where that is.
It's next to Modesto. And yeah, we were, yes, all of those ideas in my head about, holy shit, I'm going out to Modesto to play this club that is on it's not doing well, and I feel for the owner, and I feel, and I get there and I'm like, oh my god, why am I here? I just want this to be over with. I end up having a great show, and I mean, go up, have fun, get paid money, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, this is what it's all about. Mm-hmm. But on the way back, I'm asking this comic about, hey, whatever happened to this guy? Have you heard from this person? And it's always remarkable to me to hear, oh yeah, that guy went to LA and he completely disappeared. Mm-hmm. Just left with like, oh my god, he's gonna make it, and then vanishes. No one's heard from him, no emails, no social media. Like 5 years have gone by and nobody knows where this guy is, right? And that story is so much more common than I think people realize, especially other comedians. And everyone is aiming to be that one guy who's like, oh yeah, that guy made it.
Mm-hmm. See, I look at it a little different, actually.
Okay. I
kind of look and I go like, okay, let's take Al Madrigal. He was comfortable with himself, and he's just where none of that's surprising. To me, that's not luck.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
He's good with himself. He's just a confident guy that knows what he does well and does that. Okay, so let's take another Nick Swartzen, kind of the same thing. There was let's like to me that was gonna happen, and even if it didn't happen as smooth as it did, they would have kept moving.
But it's interesting. I bet if you talk to both of those guys, right, like they've achieved a level of success that, again, most comics, myself included, we were dreaming of getting. But I bet if you ask them, they would say like, nah, I could have done better. I wish I'd gone farther. I mean, that was the little, right. Like I remember talking to Greg Proops and, asking him like sincerely, like, hey, you feel like you've made it, right? Like, and he's just like, no, I never feel that way. I constantly feel like there's somebody ahead of me that's doing better. And that person thinks of somebody ahead of him that's done better, and that and right. That's the trap that I think you get into with following. Yeah, it's a dream, but then when the ambition takes over, and then there's resentment, it gets scary. And yet, I still wish I had it.
Oh, of course, we want to learn those things the hard way.
Yeah,
we want to. Now, just for the sake of, I tend to think I know everything about how the industry works. There's no reason that's true. But that being said, I would say that, for instance, Al Al and Greg are different. Al has made it in a way Greg Proops is not.
Yeah,
Greg
I would
Proops is
agree with that.
more of a free floating, really respected, hilarious guy, but he has not found a home. Maybe with the touring with the Whose Line Is It? That's probably the closest thing is a great, I'm sure it's got to be a good paycheck. But he has, I'll bet you Al Madrigal would acknowledge that he is maximizing his talent. He's kind of crushing it. Proops, they still, in the big picture, don't know what to do with him.
But I mean, this is not only knock against Al, but I don't think when people think about, hey, who are the socially relevant comedians right now, he does not pop up on a list. No. And that, man, I'm gonna get grief for saying that. And that's not a knock against him, but I feel like as a comedian, you know, yeah, he's got an audience, he's making money, he's the real deal in every way.
Maybe he feels he wish he was more relevant.
I bet he does, because I think every comedian has that hunger.
He gets to act with Ben Affleck. I just feel like, but the point being, you never know. He could be as dissatisfied as any of us. Absolutely, it's never enough.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I look at Al Magic. He's an example of someone I go, no, it's not random or luck. He was, he had a sense of himself.
Yeah, but I think yes, he had a sense of himself, and that definitely helped.
And there's a lot of different ways to make it.
But there's so many other comedians that had a sense of themselves, and
cool.
They're
cool.
I'm not talking just in our group. I'm talking about like.
Cool. Give me an example.
I can't.
I will explain.
I can't.
Why exactly what happened. Again, I think I've got it all figured out. I don't. Why would I?
Listen, there's plenty of guys that I think had a pretty good sense of themselves. They had the confidence, they had the chops, they knew what they were doing on stage, and then for whatever reason, things did not, and I think there's always an element of luck, because you can stick with it, but I think also this, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Kismet, stars align.
Yeah, I mean...
That happens when you put yourself out there. I actually believe that.
Well, yeah, you got to put yourself out there, but okay, like one of the big reasons I think I didn't have a bigger career was just purely dental work. I vividly remember...
true. I
mean, no, it's got to be true.
It matters.
It matters. I mean, it's Hollywood. I mean, they're not going to cast me, But I vividly remember one night. It was a showcase at the Punchline for Dave Becky was there, right, and he was like everybody's first manager, and I just had a monster set, and right in the middle of the show, cake slot, just crushing it, being me. I was young and skinny, and had the shaved head at the time. And I come off the stage, and Becky is back there by the green room, and he's talking to me, and clearly, he just saw me on stage, and now he's talking to me. But I can tell, because someone who has bad dental work knows when someone is looking at the teeth, and he's like sizing me up and talking to me about stuff, but I can tell that he's like, man, I can't do anything with this guy because of the teeth. And I think about that moment a lot, if I'm being honest. I think about that moment, and I wish I would have said, hey, listen, I'm just about to get my work done. Huh?
Did he tell you?
No, of course he didn't tell me.
Yeah, I could see him, Dave Becky, saying, you got to take care of your teeth.
I wish he would have. It would have been I kept, there's so many, and that's like one thing, right? But I was also like, I didn't want to acknowledge it. There was so much weirdness that was going on inside my head about so many other things, the and I'm still like, oh yeah, I want to get the bottom fixed. It's whatever. But I feel like, yeah, if I would have had better dental work, Dave Becky probably would have, taken an interest in me in a professional way, And I might have been one of those guys that started going down to LA for auditions.
Right.
And who knows? Who knows? But I also know this. I think if I was one of those guys that had that kind of success that early on, I probably would have delved deeper into drugs and alcohol. Mm-hmm. Probably would have killed me.
Sure. And, I mean, looking back, those showcases didn't matter that much. They were a beginning of a relationship. We used to like to think that they were going to be fast forward to the middle of a relationship. And that could happen sometimes with some... so we like to think Dave Becky's going to come and see me and manage me, and then next week I'll be booked.
Yeah, but but you're right. It is the beginning of a relationship, right? And there were comics that he started at, like, I think the term, and you know this because you are an industry professional.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you know.
That's why I'm sitting here in my palatial palace with Asian stuff behind me.
He would have hip pocketed me, right? Like, so he wouldn't have managed me, but he would have put my name in for some auditions, and then had I gotten one of those things, then he would have said, like, how about I manage this situation for you and let's see what happens. And then if it turned into something more, then... But you're right. Like, that was the thing that always was frustrating to me. It was like, I could never get my career into second gear because the industry just never took a liking to me. And I was also...
Is that really true, though?
Yeah.
I tend to believe... I don't think there is luck. I don't believe in that. I feel like it tends to come down to... You and I were... Okay. Very desperate. And at the end of the day, I don't know that we really knew who we were.
I would agree with that. I would agree that I didn't... Yeah, but I also had I knew that I was really good on stage. You know what I mean? Like, right. I knew that I knew what to do. And you're right. Like, in hindsight, one of the things about stand-up comedy that people don't understand... They're not looking at you for how funny you are as a comedian or how skilled you are. They're looking at you like, can I cast you in this? What is his character? Where can he be marketed to? What demographic does he be? I mean, I didn't want to acknowledge, but I think there's some truth in that. But here's the other thing. I think if I had gone down to LA, I could have written for people. I could have done behind scenes things and gotten, there's so many stories like that of people who show up thinking they're going to be one thing in Hollywood, and then they end up being this force behind the camera. They end up becoming the writer everyone wants to work with. They end up becoming, I
could have gotten a literary agent.
You could have gotten a literary agent.
I was on the hook. I had a writing partner. I had a legit literary agent. Wanted to sign me, but I needed to stay in Europe, traveling around with my drunken manager, because I'm a comedian. That's where my head was at, and because that's kind of I wasn't wise.
Well, I mean, we were young and we had an idea of what we were doing and we were passionate about
here's
the
the thing. I
craft.
want to ask you something. This is a tough question.
Oh, right? Fuck.
I'm sorry, but this is the splain.
God damn it,
all right, Joe.
Bring it.
You said that the industry never took a liking to you. Mm-hmm. Now, it's a tough question for both of us. Is that true, or is it more true the industry didn't know you and could give a shit? Because you were not really involved in Hollywood.
True, I wasn't involved in Hollywood, but the time that we were in... Okay, so those showcases, they did matter to the extent that, it was an opportunity to start that relationship. And there was a couple of times people did get things from those showcases. They did get that door opened. And there were people, even in our time, that started to go back and forth from the Bay Area down to LA, right? And it was a much longer process.
Like who?
I can't remember anybody's name anymore.
Anyone.
But there was a young black guy that was specifically looked at to be on one of the late night shows, and they came up and did a showcase, and we all wanted to, and I can't remember his name, man.
Oh, okay.
They just that's not important. But your whole point about, am I deluding myself? That I think the industry did know who I was, because Molly, every time there were industry showcases, and you got the same thing, your name was put on those lists. We always had an opportunity because we were getting in front of people. I remember being in front of the booker for Craig Ferguson, and he liked me, and he saw me 3 times, and we were trading emails, and I was gonna get on Craig Ferguson, and it looked like it was a done deal, and I just kept checking in with him via email. He's just like, okay, hold on, this is happening. And then finally he gets back to me and says, like, hey, we're going to go in a different direction and book bigger names. Like, fuck you, for this 9-month, shitty hand job. I felt like, the industry, and that's such a big coverall term, but there was enough people that knew me and knew I wanted to get further along for whatever reason. But I also, I'm also aware of, there was a lot of stuff I mean, it's just, it's very, very frustrating to look back on it sometimes and realize, there was shit that was obvious to everyone but me. And I think at some point, even the industry, I remember there was a showcase one night, and Molly even saying to me, hey, Joe, I'm sorry I didn't put you on it, but, they've requested new people. They've seen you, and I remember how that felt, and I remember just fuck, and then you start to see this new crop of people, starting to get stuff, and you're just like, fuck, I did I miss my window? Did I screw up? What should I have done? Anyway, you've really depressed me now, Dan, but I have to go look at my Millennium Falcon wedding cake.
Okay, let's bring it
home.
Look, I didn't get into my shit's worse. I was down there. I was fucking down there. I'll tell you some shit.
Save it for next time.
It was just, you're talking about a hand job from a Ferguson is all of my fear.
Yeah.
And this is what we're talking about. This is my point. It's interesting to me that I've been kind of the dream is always alive, and there's always this disappointment. Yet I'm completely encouraging Charlie to go in that direction.
Well, you have to. He's a kid. You don't know. I mean,
that's the
beauty of it.
That's what makes me say it's all worth it. It's worth it to dream and maybe have it not come true in the way you thought, because otherwise you're just normal. You know what I mean?
You got to take your shot. At the end of the day, you got to take a shot at something.
What's the point?
Yeah. What's the point? What's the point?
Doesn't mean anything to you. So let's end it on that high note. All right.
Like and subscribe. I swear we'll have a guest next week. It won't just be sad old men telling their sad old stories about how they could have been somebody.
You're getting married. It's a beautiful thing.
I don't know if I want to now, Dan. I could have been somebody.
You are somebody.
God damn, that's
somebody.
Right.
God damn it.
There we go. Okay.
All right.
On that note, like and subscribe.
All right. Peace out.
Peace out.